Steelers, New York team coach. You got a good defensive play caller in Robert Saleh. He's a really good defensive mind, but it's tough to judge him so far in his first 3 years just because he's a terrible quarterback play. He's not doing the offense. Obviously, last year they were planning on having Rodgers. Previous two, they were hoping on Wilson having be good, but Wilson's a complete bust. He's gone now, though. He's with the Broncos. He had some good years as an Niners DC. So even if he doesn't be a good head coach, because some guys aren't, but he's still gonna be a really good coordinator. Problem is, defense coordinator, you don't have a good coordinator. Like Nathaniel Hackett, he's one of those for a long time. It's like Rodgers has brought around players that he's really liked, and he's kept them around the league. Like he brought it with Randall Cobb last year. He brought it with Allen Lazard. Like he's brought it with a lot of players he's liked. And now he's a coach he really likes. He likes to bring everywhere. Like there's a reason Broncos hired him as their head coach the other year because they were hoping they brought him in as their head coach. They could entice Rodgers to want to get traded there. Honestly, didn't work out. Hackett's not a good OC. Like if it wasn't for Rodgers, he would not be an OC anymore. He would be assistant coach, like below that. And defensive coordinator, got Jeff Elbrick. He came over with Salah. He spent the previous 6 years with the Falcons as assistant. He's helped to have a lot. This defense have a lot of good years, but like how much of that is also based on Salah? Because Salah is a play caller, so yeah. From is to be the offense again. Like how can their offense do? Like it should be better because they have Rodgers, but still, like you need a good play caller. And I don't think Hackett's that. Like when even in Green Bay, now Florida did most of the play calling. And honestly, in Denver, he did terrible. And yeah, I did terrible quarterback play last year, but you got to blame part of that on the coordinator as well. Yeah, that's it for your coaching staff. Now let's go to your roster. Quarterback, you also got Aaron Rodgers. He played 4 snaps last year. He's but even his last year at the Packers, he didn't do that. He didn't do great for his standards. Like for a lot of quarterbacks, that's still good, but for his standards, only 26 touchdowns, 12 picks, which was his second most in his career, and that's his most the most he's ever thrown in one single season. That was his first full year as a starter. Like in 2000, and his least amount of touchdowns in a fully healthy season in a long time. So yeah, he's on the decline. So we'll see, and how does he coming off of major injuries? But then he brought in Tyrod Taylor to be our backup. He's gonna be better if he has to start. He's not a great starter at this point, but he'll be better than Zach Wilson was last year. Zach Wilson was terrible. Yeah. Then they also drafted Jordan Travis in the 5th round. He had a good year at Florida State last year, but then he got a really bad looking injury. So how does he recover from that? We'll see. Let's get Andrew Peasley. I'm sorry, no offense to this guy, but I've never heard of him before, so I'm not gonna talk about him. Now let's go to running back. Your front starting running back. You got Brees Hall. He's been a really good running back for them, and if he can get good quarterback play, that's gonna really help them because they're not going to be able to focus a lot on the running game anymore because they have a good running back, a quarterback finally. Swin Rogers is good. Stays healthy this time. Then behind them, he drafted Braylon Allen, guy out of Wisconsin. He had a really good freshman year. He's had fine 2 years after that, but he hasn't done a ton. He's only 20, and he's not going to turn 21 until near the very end of the playoffs. So he's ridiculously young for a guy in the NFL. And then now behind him, you also got Isaiah Davis. Not a rookie. He's young. He's just a young developmental guy, really. Out of South Dakota State. So you got a lot of young guys on the running back. You also got Israel Epikandia. He's not a young developmental guy. He's a second year guy, so he's a little more experienced than those others. Yeah, you just have a lot of recent draft picks to running back. Hall, is it actually, I forgot to check. So this is his 3rd year. He almost had 1,000 yards last year, and he put yeah. So we'll see there. He's a good running back. Now let's go to wide receiver. Number one wide receiver. You have Garrett Wilson. He's been really good. It's another guy. Like, how good could he be if he's got good quarterback play all season? Like, it's just you gotta think of that. But yeah, and with a bad quarterback for all season, Zach Wilson and other bad, not so good quarterbacks, he has still had over 1,000 yards. He almost had 100 catches. Yeah, he had a pretty good year. And yeah, so we'll see what happens there. He also brought in Mike Williams on one year deal. He's a good wide receiver when healthy. Problem is, he's barely healthy. Like, he was having a really good first few weeks with the Chargers last year, but then he tore his ACL against the Vikings week 3. So we'll see. But and even before that, he's dealt with other injuries. It's not like it was just last year that he was dealt with a big major injury. He just got Xavier Gibson. Was he the guy? I think he was he that player that had that massive return for touchdown week one against the Bills last year? I think he was. Let's just see. So he had a fun return touchdown. So yeah, he's you don't really want him starting wide receiver, as your number 3. So you're kind of hoping like a guy like Malachi Cornley can have a good year. But I also have back over receiver. We have Alan Lazard. He's really just one of those guys. Like he'll probably still be in the league somewhere. But like he's really just like, he's a good blocker. He's not much of a wide receiver though. Rodgers just loves him. That's really it. Let's get Malachi Corney, 3rd round rookie. We'll see how he does, but he's a rookie. But you hope maybe the starter Corley could beat out Gibson for number 2 right out. But even then, you don't have much. And if Williams does go down with injury, you're kind of screwed. Unless Corona just comes out of nowhere and has a good rookie year. Let's got Aaron Charles and Malik Taylor. Neither of those guys are good. Let's just be honest. Most teams, those guys shouldn't be making the roster. Like, yeah, they're just not good. Let's get Jason Brownlee and Lance Puchin. Just bad depth and not even good depth. Let's got Isaiah Winstead, Tyler Harrell, and Brandon Smith. Not even the momental guys. That's really it. Maybe Pratt squad, one of them. So we'll see. Yeah, you got 2 good wide receivers if Williams stay healthy. But after that, you got a lot of question marks. Sal's got a tight end. Got Tyler Conklin. He's a he's a good tight end, but he did have a better year last year, and he has like never dealt with injuries pretty much. He had a good final year with the Vikings. Like, I wish we'd have brought him back instead of killing with Irv Smith when he left because he had a good year final year with us. But yeah, he's gone now. He's a good tight end. Behind him, you do got Jeremy Ruckert. He's a 2nd year, 3rd round. So it's his 3rd year, third round pick out of Ohio State. He's barely done anything. They've also had Tyler Conklin the whole time. And I think they had another tight end too, who's now gone. The former Bengals tight end. Um, Former Bengals tight end. I'm blanking on his name right now. I'm sorry. So yeah, Rutgers been a 3rd string tight end for a while. Why am I'm completely blanking on that guy's name? Sorry about that. I just had to look that up. Yeah, so I had CJ who was on my last year, so for the past year, so Rutgers hasn't gotten a lot of starting time. They just got Zach Kuntz. He's the the guy. Kenny Yeboah, he's not good. He's still relatively young, I think, so we'll see. But yeah. Let's go to offensive line. You made 2 big additions at tackle. You signed Tyron Smith free agency. You traded for Morgan Moses. Then in the 1st round, you drafted Oli Fashanu, which is great because Tyron Smith never seems. It's been a while since he played a whole season, and so he's probably not going to be healthy. And then Margaret, even then, both Moses and Smith are both in their 30s. So how much longer do they stick around? Smith isn't a 1 year deal, so we could let Smith walk next off season. Give Ole Fashanu a year to develop. Fashanu can be a starting left tackle next year. So we'll see there. But Fashanu is a pretty like as your backup for now. That's pretty good. And it's got a Bina Ease. He's not good. Let's just be honest. Now let's go to your tier. You also had another big addition. You signed John Simpson from the Ravens. He's been a good starter for them for the past couple of years. So yeah, the Ravens always seem a good offensive line. So we'll see how they do outside of them. But yeah, like, we'll see. But yeah, he should be good. You also got Jake Hansen and Willie Tyler the third. They're fine backups, but you don't want either of them starting ever, or you're in trouble. And at center, you got Joe Tippmann, a second year guy, former second round pick out of Wisconsin. He didn't do great last year, but hopefully next year development will do just what he needs. And he does. Him and Braylon Allen played together at Wisconsin, obviously. So we'll see what happens there. He's a fine young developmental guy, but he should get better. Then just get Chris Glazer and Xavier Newman. Fine backups, fine depth, but that's really it. Right guard, you got your best offensive lineman that's been here since before this offseason. He has also some injuries, but he's still really good. So we'll see. If, and yeah, and then you also get Wedge Meitzer. He's a fine backup, and then he's probably your best backup guard slash center. So obviously you're just trying to be a tackle for now. Then it's got Cole Lavelle and Brady Latham. The other young developmental guys. Neither of them should make the roster just because you have better guys in front of them and Schmeitzer. And yeah. So let's go to right tackle. You brought in Morgan Moses from the Ravens. He is a good right tackle, but he is 33. So how much longer can you do that for? And how much longer is he going to stick around like on this team? So we'll see. But you also got two young guys behind him and Max Mitchell. He's been a fine player for them. He has had his start at times. But you also have a rookie. You have a second year guy also in Carter Warren. So like if Moses struggles with injuries or if he leaves soon because he's 33, you have young developmental guys. So you hope Moses can at least be a good starter for this year, and maybe you can have those guys up and be better next year. And let's get Austin DeLucius, not a young developmental guy, but he's worse than Mitchell and Warren. So we'll see. Yeah, they signed they signed slash traded for three new starters on this defensive line, which should help. Like they're all upgrades over what they had last year. So see what happens there. Now let's go to your that's it for your offense. Now let's go to your defense. So now let's go to you have a really good defensive line. Let's see what happens with Son Reddick. He has requested a trade. They traded for him during the offseason from the Eagles. I don't know if they somehow didn't realize they wanted a new contract or what, but he wants a new contract and he hasn't getting it, so he wants to get traded. But they came out and said they're not going to trade him. We'll see. But so yeah, but if he can play, if he stays with them and plays, he's really good. Yeah. Then he also got Jermaine Johnson, former. So yeah, they had three first round picks in 2022. They had Jermaine Johnson. They had Sauce Gardner. We'll talk about a little bit. They had Garrett Wilson. And the first second round pick, Brees Hall. Like, that's a pretty good top four picks draft by this team. Johnson's a really good edge rusher. Then you also now sorry to talk about Hassan Reddick. Now let's go to your tier defensive line, defensive tackle. You got Quinn Williams. He's really good as well. Like him, Reddick, and Jermaine Johnson. If Reddick stays here, that's a really scary trio on that defensive line. Like yeah, and these Niners, former Niners, is like defensive coaches. Like they love that. Always love that good defensive line depth. Like the Niners seem to always have that. So yeah. Then they brought in former Niners first round pick Javon Kinlaw. He was a bust. He has a lot of injuries, but he's okay. Next we got Lee Fotu from I think formerly the Cardinals. He is not he's okay. He's bad depth. We also brought back he also got back you still have Solomon Thomas, another former Niners top pick. He was a but he's another bust. He's about to be a fine backup defensive lineman, but he's not a great consistent guy. That could hope he would have been in the top five pick in 2017. And then behind them, you also got Bruce Hector and Tenzel Smart. You only want the guys who never were that good. You also got Leonard Taylor the third. He's a rookie. Hopefully, he can beat out those two guys in front of him. That's on their depth chart, or even full two. So now let's go to your backup edge rushers. You did lose Bryce Huff. That's a big loss, but you pretty much traded. Assuming Reddick stays, you traded edge rushers with the Eagles, even though Reddick, even though Huff wasn't included in the trade because Huff's from the Jets and he went to the Eagles, and Reddick's from the Eagles and went to the Jets. So it's kind of funny that way. But yeah. So then you have then behind. You also got Will McDonald the fourth, another former first round pick. He didn't do he didn't do much of anything last year, but he was more of a rotation guy, which they're this Niners, former Niners, and now the Jets and Salah has liked to do that. Let's see what happens there. He should do better as a second year guy. You got Michael Clemens. He's fine depth. He can be a rotational edge if you need him to be, don't want, but he's not great at that. Let's go Jalen Holmes and Takaris McKinley. They're another fine depth guys. Like nobody got them at this point, but they're good. But they're good depth. It's got Eric Watts and Ray Braden McGregor. Bad backups. They shouldn't make this roster. So now that's it for your defensive line. You have some really good defensive players. So and if it doesn't sound like they will, but if they do trade Hassan Reddick because he wants out now, you got some fine players that can replace him. And even then, it's not the biggest deal because you'll be that guy that does replace them. It's Simmons McDonald. McDonald will be your third, still be your third best pass rusher behind Quentin Williams and Jermaine Johnson. We'll see. Let's go to linebacker. And your will linebacker, you got former safety in Jamarian Sherwood. He's a fine safety, but he is on a coming up contract year. They should extend him. He's a good starter, but you don't really have much behind him. They just CJ Mosley. He's been a fine starting linebacker for them after he struggled when he first came from the Ravens, but he's doing a lot better now. He's a good linebacker, but he's 32. Then you also got Quincy Williams. He's fine. He's an okay starter, and he's okay. He's great depth, but we'll see. But yeah, and then behind them, we also got Zaire Barnes. He's not great depth, but he's fine. Just got a guy that was a former quarterback out of North Carolina. Now he came out of college as a linebacker, but like he when he first came out of college and drafted by the Vikings, he was only recent transition to linebacker. That's why a lot of people thought they could have been a little high on him because like, well, if he can learn this position better, he could be decent. But he has not shown much of it at all. They also got Sam Iguvian and Anthony Hines. Bad depth guys. They don't should make the roster. You also have Jackson Sherman and Marciano, McCrary, Ball, young developmental guys. Maybe one of them makes the practice squad. I'm not going to talk about Jimmy Clario just because he's done for the year, so there's no real point in talking about him. He's done. And then you got good linebackers. So that's it for your linebacker group. Now let's go to your secondary. You got the top. You got top corner, Sauce Gardner. You got one of, if not the top number two corner in the league, in DJ Reed. Like most teams, he would be their number one. Now, if a guy like him is your number two, that's doing pretty good. But yeah, those are two really good corners. They've played together. Like yeah, and Sauce Gardner's going to his third year. Might get him. It's tough to him to get better because he's already good. But if he does get better, that's great. Like and then you got Michael Carter the second. He's a fine slot player, but if Reed does or Sauce stays injured, he's not a great guy on the outside. That's like Quantez Stiggers. He's a rookie guy. Is he the player out of the Canadian Football League? I think he's that guy. I think he's a player out of the CFL. But yeah, he's He's the only Momenta guy that's really it, so he's not expecting much out of him yet. Then it's got Brandon Eagles and Brandon Codrington. Fine depth. But like your top, you might not really need one of these three guys to play. Your three back corners to play much, just because your top three haven't dealt with it much injuries. Knock on wood, just because this happened, but so far they haven't. So we'll see what happens there. But you do have fine that you got some good backup safeties that so they can play some corner if you need if those guys do get injured because you don't have great corner depth. You just got some young Atlanta guys. Same and then Jarek Bernard Converse, he's another young Atlanta guy. I think this is his second year. Just look. So yeah, this is his second year, 6th round pick. We're not expecting much out of him, really. Still, you just got Trey Swilling, Kendall Sheffield. Sheffield's a fine depth guy. He should be able to make this. Like if I don't think either of these guys will, but he should be. If they do, he should be able to make this roster over Swilling. It's gonna be tough because they have a lot of younger guys ahead in front of them that should make the roster instead. We also got Shamar Barth. I don't know. Sorry, I don't know if I was trying to pronounce that whole last name. That's gonna be a tough one. He's bad. He's not good. He shouldn't make this roster. Now let's go to safeties. Well, it starts. You got some. You got really good two corners, and you got a good slack guy. So now let's go to safeties. Strong safety. You traded for Chuck Clark. I think you traded for him last offseason, but he dealt the injury. He got injured like right away, so he never played a snap for them. But yeah, he's with the Ravens. He was a good starter. They just signed and drafted. They signed Marcus Williams and they drafted Kyle Hampton. They replaced him or were better than him. Chuck Clark's still fine, good safety. You just got Tony Adams. He's fine, not great, but yeah. And then you also have a younger guy in Ashton Davis. He has started for them at times, and he's been a fine starter for them. You also got Isaiah Oliver. He has played a lot of corners, so he might be corner two. We'll see how he does as a backup safety. Then it's got Jalen Key and Jarius Monroe. They're bad depth, and one of the guys, maybe but the guys. Now Blades Jr. Sorry, no offense to him, but I have never heard of that guy, so I'm not going to talk about him. I just haven't. So yeah, but if Chuck Clark does go down with an injury because he did miss all last year, you got fine back. You got a good backup safety in Davis, so it won't be hugest loss. But if you deal with another safety injury, you're not doing great. That's that's it for your defense and your so now let's go to your special teams. Kicker and punter, you got two really old players and Morrison and Durline. Those guys are pretty old, so let's see how much longer they stay around. You're having a kicker battle not with Austin Siebert. Sterling should be able to win that. Greg the leg Sterling. He's not the greatest leg anymore, but he's still a good kicker. That's got Thomas Morstead. He's a fine punter at this point, but still. Then returners, you got Xavier Gibson. He's on beer, not even the returner, just because he was a good returner's rookie year last year. I'm not going to talk about the backup returners. So that's it for your roster. If you can get quarterback play, this team should be good. Like I don't think they'll be able to win this division just because they had the Bills and Dolphins to compete with, two other really good teams. But this team should be able to make the playoffs if they have good quarterback play. It's like that's what they've needed these past couple of years, but they just haven't gotten it. So we'll see. And that's it for the roster. Now let's go to your schedule. Their schedule. Week one, you start off a tough game. You're at San Fran. You're not lose. So yeah. Titans. But then you got two relatively easy games, and Titans and Patriots wins and win and another win. Broncos should be another win. Got the at Minnesota. Rodgers usually does good versus Minnesota, but I feel like the Vikings will find a way to win this game. Well, this isn't in Minnesota. It's in my country. Sorry, I just saw at and I didn't realize I'm really paying attention to the other part. So yeah, but still, see happens there. But I think Vikings will be able to win it. But well, actually, I think the Jets will win that one. Now that I think about it, just because the injuries the Vikings are dealing with lately. Bills. I feel like you don't get swept by the Bills. I just think you do. They just have, even if Rodgers has a good year, Allen's just a much better quarterback. Steelers, that should be a win. Should sweep the Patriots. No lose to the Texans. They're just another good team. Cardinals win. I mean, sorry. Colts. I'd still be to win this one because it is in MetLife. But we'll see. Got your bye week. Coming off your bye, going against the Seahawks. That should be a win. I feel like they will be able to split the season with the Dolphins, but it's gonna be tough. Jaguars, like if they want, just because how tough if they want to make these playoffs, make the playoffs, they don't have to win these final four games. There are some tough teams that are also competing for playoff position. The Jaguars are probably going to be playoff. They're going to be right there for a playoff spot. So they and then you also have the Rams, and our team right there for another playoff spot. Then you got your two division rivals that are competing with you for a division title, and the Bills and the Dolphins. And I feel like they'll split the Dolphins, but I feel like they're not gonna get split by the Bills. Like I feel like split with one of those two teams. Assuming Rodgers stays healthy, but and then it'll get split with one of them, and then it'll get split by the other one. But I think split the Dolphins is get split by the Bills. I just do. But we'll see. They do got some tough teams on the schedule. They got a tough division. Like the only easy team in this division right now are the Patriots. But we'll see how much longer it's like that. Just because the Patriots have a young quarterback and Drake May who should be good. We'll see. Hey guys, that's it for the Jets season preview. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a good rest of your night.